Hi, and welcome to week 2. This week, we are going to be reviewing some foundational theories in TESOL and bilingual education as a way to situate our work together in this methods course. Many of these theories will be familiar to you from previous TESOL courses and BDO courses if you've taken them with us. But I still find it helpful to spend some time reviewing them because they're really going to serve as the framework under which we'll think about how to effectively support multilingual learners. We're going to start off the week with a couple of readings. They're both from our course textbooks. So the first one is the first chapter of Scaffolding Language Scaffolding Learning. We'll be introduced to concepts like scaffolding and other framing theories that we'll be using in this course, or that we'll be connecting to in this course. And the second chapter is from our other course text, Co-Planning. And we're going to be reading chapter 6, which gets into kind of the weeds of different types of scaffolding and what it actually looks like in the classroom. There are tons and tons of examples in that book, so I hope you find it useful to see different ways that scaffolding has been conceptualized and then put into practice. For both of these chapters, I have made copies of them because I imagine some of you don't have your books yet. So please order them if you don't have them, if you haven't done that already. But know that you have chapter 1 and chapter 6 ready to go up in Brightspace. And then there are a couple mini lectures that I've recorded for you just as a review of some of these foundational theories, because I want them to serve as a frame for you to think about as you're planning methods. So the first mini lecture is framed as myth or fact, kind of goes over some theories in relation to those statements. And the second asks, what do students need for successful second language acquisition? There's also a brief video in which Dr. Stephen Krashen explains the concept of comprehensible input. If you've taken EDC 420 recently, you may have seen this video already, but I still think it's worth a quick rewatch because I think he does a really nice job of explaining why comprehensible input matters so much when we think about language acquisition as a way to start thinking about the concept of scaffolding, especially. And then after you're done engaging with the foundational theories and concepts and engaging with the readings and watching the videos, there's a discussion post for just discussion forum for this week where you'll be sharing some of your reflections on that and then responding to at least two classmates in a way that engages with their reflections by asking questions, by making connections to the readings, bringing in new quotes or new ideas. So I look forward to seeing you engage there. And then we'll also this week be starting to think about two of the major assignments for this course. The first one is the problem of practice paper, which previously was called the district or school-based problem paper. And so this is part 2, where you will be thinking about how you are taking your plan forward that you've been working on in 501, and also potentially 506 if you're in the master's program. And so how you're now doing the research that you plan to do if you haven't already, and enacting an action plan to try to resolve the problem that you identified. If you are not doing that paper, if you're not a certification student, you're taking this course as an elective, you're not in our MA program, you can instead do an advocacy research paper where you will be choosing a topic, researching it, and writing about it, a topic related to multilingual learner education. So for this week, I want you to just share your ideas, your plan, so that I have a chance to give you some feedback, answer any questions you have, because you're going to be putting this into practice across the course. So you want to set a timeline for yourself of how you want to begin to implement the research if it's still pending and the action plan. You do not have to respond to classmates in that forum. There's a forum for the problem of practice paper, but of course you are welcome to if you'd like to make a suggestion or ask a question of somebody who's sharing their ideas. And then the second project you're going to be beginning to plan for this week is the professional development project. This is an assignment that students typically really enjoy because you get to put into practice what you're learning and connect directly with your colleagues, or with, if you're a student, with other students, or whatever audience if you're choosing to share some of what you've been learning. So I encourage you for that to choose a topic that we're covering in this course, although you are welcome to build upon topics that you've learned about in other TESOL BDL courses. And you're going to be in the forum, the brainstorm forum for this week, sharing some ideas for what you think you might do. So in the past, some folks have done kind of a single professional development workshop. Sometimes people divide it into kind of a few smaller workshops. A lot of times there's a component where you're gathering some information about what that audience knows, so you can look at the impact before and after the workshop. You are welcome to connect the PD project to your action plan if it makes sense. So sometimes students will use the PD project as part of their action plan for addressing the problem that they identified. So if that's relevant for your problem, you could also do that. And again, you're going to be posting your ideas in the brainstorm forum. You do not have to respond to peers. You're welcome to if you'd like. And I'm going to use that as a space to get a sense for what you're thinking. And I might ask questions and make comments there as well. And so that is it for this week. Do know that we'll have check-ins in a few weeks where we'll be meeting in small groups to talk about these projects. So this is a chance for you to get your ideas out now and to start doing some planning. You're always welcome to email me questions if you have them. We can set up a time to meet, or I can respond to your questions there. And I'm looking forward to seeing your reflections, both in the discussion forum for this week and in the 2 brainstorm forums.